straight from the burning flames of hell, a place where all assassins dwell.
Did this happen to anybody else? In 1995, I went to the record store to purchase Bone Thugs-n-Harmony E1999 Eternal on the date that was published in magazines as the release date, but the album got pushed back, which happened a lot back then. And I remember being there every Tuesday trying to ask the person that worked there, "Hi, do you have a Bone Thugs-n-Harmony album called E.1999 Eternal?" I had no idea what to call the album, and I knew saying the name Bone Thugs-n-Harmony at a record store in 1995 at a time when rap still wasn't really universally accepted. Most of the people that worked at the stores were into rock. They had no idea what I was talking about. They must have been like, what is this guy saying? Bones, tongues, and harmony? I don't know about any Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, but there's a Bone Enterpri album called Faces of Death. We just received it with today's shipment. I figured they changed their name because it was such a strange name to say, Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, and they just shortened it to Bone Enterpri, but I couldn't figure out why it was called Faces of Death and not E.1999 Eternal. Maybe they changed that name too because that was too confusing. I looked at the back CD and saw the pictures of the guys on there. They did look like younger versions of the guys I saw depicted in the Thuggish Ruggish Bone video, the For the Love of Money video, and First of the Month video. But I became a Bone Thugs-n-Harmony fan because of Eazy-E, and I didn't see the Ruthless Records logo on there. I saw Stony Burke and Platinum. Like, where's Ruthless Records? What is this? But I went ahead and bought it because there was no E1999 Eternal for me to purchase, and I figured maybe I just misunderstood what the name of the album was, although I didn't see in the track title First of the Month, so I was really confused what I was buying here. There was no World Wide Web back then. The only way you got your rap information was from watching Rap City, Yo MTV Raps, or reading any of the magazines like The Source, Rap Pages, or Vibe. I was there on the release date that was published, and this Faces of Death album, the store employee said, just arrived today. So I figured, alright, well this must be the right album, and I purchased it. I get home, I pop the CD in, and I hear this. I was like, what the heck is this? They have the Naughty by Nature beat, and Lazy Bone is rapping like a mix between DOS Effects and Fooshnickens. So now I'm like, alright, what did I just buy? Because the same thing happened to me back when Snoop Dogg Doggy Style was supposed to come out. There was an album called Dog Pound Posse, Dog E Style, and I bought it thinking it was Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound, and the album was Doggy Style. This was not Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound, and you can't imagine the hours I was looking at the cover trying to imagine that the guys on the cover were Snoop and the Dog Pound. I'm like, man, that guy, I guess he kind of looks like Daz. Is that corrupt? I really can't figure out which one of these guys is Snoop. And I think the same thing happened to everybody when Dr. Dre Concrete Roots came out. So at this point, I'm reading the inside cover, the liner notes, trying to figure out what I bought. I don't see any reference to Ruthless Records or Eazy-E. And when it gets to the bottom, it says, Lazy Bone appears courtesy of Lazy Bone Records and Jam It Recordings. And I'm thinking, Jam It Recordings? Lazy Bone appears courtesy of Lazy Bone Productions and Jam It Recordings. Now, it wasn't until later on when Discogs.com came out where I could actually do a little research on what Jam It Recordings was. But what I found there was already included in the album cover, and I didn't realize it. It says, also available, K-Chill, Get Your Funky Off. And when I looked at executive producers and saw Ralph Rock, Chris K-Chill Ford, and Diego Black, and not Eazy Eric Wright E, I was like, what's going on here? Who is this K-Chill guy? His name is mentioned a couple other times in the cover. He's listed as the layout credit. He's listed in the special thanks. Thanks to K-Chill for hooking us up. So how is it that all of us Bone fans that aren't from Cleveland have never heard of K Chill. He executive produced Faces of Death, did the art layout, and was in the special thanks. Doesn't that inquire an investigation? Or at least appreciation, because essentially Bone Enterprise is Bone's demo tape to Eazy in a way. But Bone did give him a shout out in the cover, and recently Crazy Bone gave a shout out to K Chill on Hot 97.
Those guys their moment, because I want to know who that was.
It was a dude that we was actually in the group with, like with the dude I said that I used to rap with before I met Lazy and Flesh. He got pretty big in Cleveland. His name was K Chill. You know what I'm saying? He was a dope. Like, he was a dude that used to freestyle in class. He used to have like the whole crowd around. He was sick. You know what I'm saying? Then we had this group called Brothers for the Struggle.
So how did Bone fans miss out on K Chill all these years? You got K Chill, Get Your Funky Off, and I think before that he had an album called K Chill, The Chill Factor. But my question is, are there any recordings of Lazy Bone with Jam It Recordings? Why is Lazy Bone singled out appears courtesy and the rest of the members aren't? Because I see there's this flyer here with Lazy Bone and K Chill, and I heard Busy Bone mention that he had made a song called Bass in Trouble back in the day.
Like I used to do back in the days. I wrote a record called Bass in Treble. The bass record I rapped on. The treble record I sang on. This was like before I met my boys and I was like back in Columbus.
Based on this flyer, there seems to be a Stony Burke and a Jam It Recordings. I guess they're affiliated because they advertise together, but they seem to be two separate companies or entities, which fell under the distribution of Platinum Label Group. So you have Bone Enterprise, Faces of Death. Imagine that. This was the only album by Bone at one point, and it even has a catalog number SBR-70020. Built to Last, aka BTL from the Concrete Jungle, Southpaw, Left Hand Rule, and K Chill, Get Your Funky Off, and Chill Factor. But that flyer still doesn't explain this Lazy Bone K Chill picture. K Chill was on Jam It Recordings. Lazy Bone appears courtesy of Jam It Recordings. K Chill was in a group in 2008 called Black Money. They had an album called Black Presidents and a single that was fairly popular with over 107,000 plays on MySpace called VIP. So check out part of them performing it live. K Chill still has the skills.
I'm so crispy with it, I'm so well respected. Security loving it, fundamental detector. I'm in this bitch like, very pimpish like. She turn around like, rush me them digits like. Yeah, I recognize her from the drive-thru at Mickey D's. I don't mess with her though, I need a bopper with cheese that get down like. Jump out the Benz like, rush me them ends like. Plus all her friends like, and they gon' dance for me wild in the VIP. You don't see what I see, you ain't VI me. You get the stop like, I get it poppin' like 80 bottles poppin' like shapely models boppin' like. Yeah, you could be the #1 promoter in your city, but I make this bitch pop like a walkthrough by Diddy. Black money, baby, stack money, baby, lead crew, baby, don't act funny, baby. Yeah.
I'm strapped, you gon' like a CID. I'm strapped, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. It's on me, VIP.
So if anybody has any historical information regarding Jam It Recordings and how it pertains to Lazy Bone, please post in the comments below because I'm curious to know. And if anybody has anything from Busy Bone's bass and treble song, I'd love to hear that as well. And yes, I did see this interview with Kermit Henderson.
Basically what happened, this young man I was already working with named K Chill, K-CHILL, was, I was already working with him. He called Lazy Bone his cousin, and he introduced me to Lazy Bone. I had a talent show, and we had auditions for it, and Lazy Bone auditioned. His audition was very average, but since that was K Chill's boy, we put him in anyway. He did the show, did a decent job. We started working together. I worked with Lazy Bone first as a solo artist. A lot of people don't realize that. Solo artist first, and then the group came along, and I started working with them.
So on the day I got the CD, I was so distraught because I thought maybe this was the album that I was supposed to get, that it was the replacement for E1999 Eternal, and that this is all I was going to get. So I found a phone number on the album cover, and I called it, and someone picked up on the other line, and I talked to him, And I asked him what the deal was, and he said, no, this was an album they recorded before they did Creeping on a Come Up, and that they took the opportunity to release it on the pushed back date for Eternal so that they could get some sales and recover some of the money and investment they put in the artists prior to them becoming big, which I thought was brilliant at the time. I was a young kid. I was in my teens, and I've always applied that ever since, especially like with collecting baseball cards and football cards. You never know with one of those common cards you have. Later on in the career, they may become a star. They may get that opportunity, and then suddenly all your rookie cards of this no-name guy is suddenly worth a lot of money. I just tried dialing the number today, and the strangest thing is when you dial the number, it doesn't ring, nothing happens, no operator, it just hangs. There are 3 numbers on the cover. 2 of them go to like an out-of-order response, but the primary number, when you dial it, it just says dialing. If you do it on a cell phone, and I did it on a voice over IP phone, and it just, there's no dial, there's no ringing. No ringing happens and nothing happens. It just kind of hangs. You give it a shot. Other notable things in the cover is you can see that Number One Assassin, Gangsta Attitude, and Flow Motion were arranged by Archie Blaine, and Archie Blaine was connected with Too True of Mo Thugs, and you could see plenty of Mo Thugs in the special thanks. You almost wonder if this was all added in afterwards, but the special thanks is like a who's who of Mo Thug. In fact, let's read it. Thanks to the Mo Thug organization, Leatherface, Number One Assassin, Rest in Peace, Straight Jacket, Big Wally, Lil Wally, Big Draybone, Stan House, The Cisco Kid, Hoop Fi James, Looney Lynn, Crazy Lynette, Tanya Tone, Hope and Heather, Lil Straight, Mr. Boogie Night of Poetic Hustlers, Cool Ass Rob. Who's Cool Ass Rob? Dave, Rod J, Saint Nick, April, Brandy, Stu Bone, and to the cops, stop beating on people every day. Bone Enterprise. Of all the interviews we hear, the only things we get about this era is that Bone bought one-way bus tickets, and we've heard that a gazillion times over. But nothing so much about the Faces of Death album, asking them questions about the individual tracks. I'd like to know more about this album. I found that Crazy Bone's verse on Hell Sent sounds very similar in style, not lyric-wise, but style, to his verse on Creepin' on a Come Up. Check out this comparison.
Sold my soul to the devil, but I changed my mind, now I want it back. But he won't cooperate, so now it's time to jack. Caught ripping straight jacket, number one assassin is fully strapped. We bail through hell in khakis, looks and black scully caps. Woke up this morning with the thought of robbing the bank to get rich. Ain't made it day, so it ain't no thing to click it. Bitch, give me your shit. Fresh off the pen and I blow on men, but calm, I try to stay thug. Got flow and skills, but nigga, the bitches now just can't buy my bud. So say ain't called this posse full of demons and witches. We met up at the abyss, ready to slaughter the bitches, yo. But wouldn't you know, Satan went out like a sucker, so I left the messages in blood to be continued, motherfucker. Never with my steel, got the 44 mag, what's a sag and a snag, my leather rag can't reveal. When I glad with the money bag, right to the hack out my flag.
It was a good thing that they put the original thugs with their names, Lazy Crazy Busy Wish, on the album cover. Because like I said, at the time, I had been fooled twice before with the Dog Pound Posse and Dr. Dre Concrete Roots that I wasn't sure that I really had the real Bone Thugs and Harmony. But I did. And looking back on the album, it's pretty amazing. I'm glad that Stony Burke put this out for us to wonder about for 20 years. And we know about the East 1999 Legends album that supposedly sold for $1 million. What would somebody pay for this Bone Enterprise master tape recorded on 9/11/92, 1 year after the New World Order speech by George H.W. Bush? I don't have this tape in my possession, but it's a DAT tape. That's how it used to record back then. Bone Enterprise master tape. Would you pay 5 figures for it? 6 figures? 7 figures? Is this the ultimate Bone relic of all time? The most prized, sought-after piece of archaeology? You tell me. And as I mentioned, I was first an Eazy fan since like 1988. I had like an Eazy shrine in my bedroom, and then I was waiting on the Temporary Insanity album, but then I saw this advertisement in Rap Pages magazine. It was on the back side of the front cover, and it said Eazy presents Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I was kind of disappointed at first because I really just wanted an Eazy album. I didn't want like and while I liked BG Knockout and Dresta, I'd prefer Eazy-E. And so I was like, all right. So I remembered this picture, and then I was watching the box one day, and Thuggish Ruggish Bone came on. And within the first couple of seconds of just hearing the notes, I wondered if this is that group that Eazy was advertising. And then I saw him on that like chair in the video, and it's the only time in my life that I left the house immediately after seeing the music video. I went to the store to try to find Bone Thugs-n-Harmony creeping on a come up, which is normal now, but to say something like that back then was so far ridiculous. And I bought it, and I've been a hardcore Bone Thugs-n-Harmony fan ever since, for it seems half my life. On YouTube, I haven't even seen a review of Bone Enterpri Faces of Death, let alone a mini documentary or any kind of investigation into it, other than that interview with Kermit Henderson. And so I wanted to provide something, the extent of what I know about the album, in this video. I hope even the hardest core of Bone fans learned something new in this video. And there's a couple of questions presented throughout, so you may want to rewatch this video and see if you can find answers and drop them in the comments. We've started a Beyond the Harmony Facebook like page. You could like that if you want. We'll be posting our videos there. And also there is a Bone Thugs-n-Harmony playlist on this channel that you may want to investigate if you enjoyed the way this video was presented. I still have a few more Bone videos in me that I want to produce, so you may want to subscribe to this channel to be notified when they're released. I'm also working on a Bone Thugs database in Microsoft Access that will allow us to run queries and gather new insights on Bone releases never available before, and I think that'll be the content of some of my videos that I make in the future. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and thanks for making the other videos successful and sharing them with your friends. These are stories I've always wanted to tell, and it's getting a lot off my chest to get them out. I also have a link in the description if you want to complete your Bone Thugs-n-Harmony CD collection. I have a lot of them available in my A store, so there's a link below. You might want to check that store out just to see if there's anything in there that you don't have yet. This video is concluded. In order to pay the bills and receive a royalty, I am presenting to you You Don't Know Me by Northern Lights Nation from the album Filth. Thank you for watching.
Very often life seems to come around with a moment where we stop just for a minute, reflecting back, remembering an instance where we knew that we almost lost everything we ever fucking had, staring our fates dead in the face. Man, I was just so fucking mad. It's not that I had it bad, but I was twisted up and laced with hate, smoked out constantly, drinking, increasing, can't sleep, so I'm up late, thinking about music, thinking about money, flashing back on venues, thinking it's funny. So many motherfuckers come around, hands out, claiming they hungry, but we been here starving. So pardon us if we just barging and get comfy with our feet up, let them be bust. We the realest, it's true, and recognition's proper, but yet still overdue. So if it's better late than never, gonna get your cheddar, homie, just do you. Cause when it comes down to the come down, when you look up and no one's around, gotta stand up and let it be found. Be the one reason, gotta dig down for that last shot, for that final drop, and hit 'em out with everything you got. And listen to the people buried with the scream when the music stops. Sniff it like a user, taking it back 10-9 my soul, bringing it pop that rock and roll, making a hot drop, still so cold. Give me another show, give me another hoe, backing them up the dough, but they don't hear us rolling. They don't want us breaking dough like we ain't killing every fucking stage we rockin' though. Now they wanna know why we don't rock with some folks no more. Drama and cocktail hoes leaking from both those holes. Motherfuckers wanna see me twist and listen to some bitches snitching for commission, double time and rhyming, keep consistent. Ain't no blessing for the rest and all the wicked. Listen, these rappers, these agents, promoters, they hate us, cause frankly we famous and never have made it. So twisting up another rhyme, stepping up another line, make up from a man that's going on inside of your mind. Now they singing names beef, competition go to sleep, flexing on me homie, but to hit them all with the heat. Let it be Jesus P. Who the fuck is making static drama, packing passion, making havoc, that's insane. You can get the blessing back and show them all what the fuck we do to rappers acting graphic.
stranger who don't know me.
And so on and so forth. So it's like that kind of a vibe. They, you know, so on and so forth. Yeah.